10-4 on DC is the name of the event, right? That's a big 10-4 on DC. Kind of coincide with the radio lingo and the date, obviously.
Right.
Really what we're doing this time is the focus is on, you know, driver unity and then giving the voice to the individual driver on the particular issue that bothers them most. So a lot of times people go there with like the you know, like no ELD signs, you know, and that's all they're like really preaching. But there's so much more in the industry that are, you know, kind of bogging us down, right? And something that's important to say her might not be so important to me. Right. So the idea behind 10-4 is, you know, it's not about you, it's not about me, it's about us as a collective coming together and uniting. Right. But within that, being able to have a voice to the public on your issue, because what we found was by going up on Capitol Hill and the FMCSA, yeah, they listen a little, but a lot of times it's like looking at the clock, waiting for you to get out, right? Now I can say that like the United States Transportation Alliance, we're obviously a huge sponsor of the event here. We've made great headway in DC with different legislators and FMCSA, so it has changed, but there's the common trend is that, you know, you guys need to unite. That's just the bottom thing, and you know, the bottom line. And a lot of people look at uniting as, you know, now we're supposed to be best friends. Well, that's not the case. You know, if you had a truck here, I'm not going to be your best friend, right? We're going to agree to disagree on things. We're going to agree on things, and we're going to flat out disagree on other things. Right. So if that uniting is meaning bringing these drivers to unite for the fight, to stand up together and say, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to keep coming back, and we're going to keep getting larger, and we're going to stay in your face until you start listening to us, right? Start taking things seriously. And now, like I said, I know that there are plenty of legislators, and the FMCSA has actually gone, I mean, since Ray Martinez has been in there, they've definitely, you know, have gone way further in talking with drivers and listening to feedback than I think the previous administration there, for sure. But basically 10-4 on DC is gathering like-minded individuals. It is a protest, you know, but we're trying to do it with a little style and class. You know, all these groups that go down to DC got such a bad name over various different things that have happened, you know, like the tasing of Doug Haslam, right? Who has been found completely cleared of all charges, right? It was a total screw up on the police department, but everybody only focuses on that incident, right? For April, and they make it like this, like nothing but rowdy outlaws are going down there, and that's far from it. I'm one of the last things from an outlaw there is. You go to these meetings and you say your piece to your congressman or senator, and it really gets nowhere because they see you one time a year, if that, right? Where talking to the public actually goes a heck of a lot further. Even in April, we were talking to the public that would come by the trucks. I mean, even with just 5 trucks on Jefferson Street, after we left Constitution, only 5 trucks stuck around. We had way more positive feedback and action out of that trip. We met with some key people just because we were parked there. We got you know, we really went leaps and bounds on 5 trucks there. So now we're trying to make it more high profile. It was a hard process. It took some time, but we got the permits for the National Mall. They are very strict on conduct. They're very strict about idling trucks. There's a lot of things that these drivers are going to have to abide by, and they're all aware of it. Everybody signed up for it when they come through this gate. They understand what they're participating in and what that means for them, and they're expected to carry themselves accordingly. Kevin Rutherford said, well, how are you going to measure success? That's what he said to me. How are you going to measure success? I said, well, we're already succeeding, right? We landed the National Mall, so we're in a high public profile place, right? We got the FMCSA coming down at 1 o'clock to do an impromptu listening session on the hours of service, right? That's not even a scheduled thing, but they're coming down to meet with these drivers, shake hands. It's like 2 or 3 of them, Joe DeLorenzo, Bill Mahorny, and maybe their public affairs guy coming down. And we have already solidified bonds with each other that people that didn't talk, right? So like Trucker Nation, you know, had their mission and what they're working on, and they're doing a fantastic job of what they're doing. And the USTA, United States Transportation Alliance, is working really hard at what they're doing. They're doing a fantastic job. Now, in theory, you'd be considered a competitor, right? I mean, technically, right?
Maybe.
But one of the things that has already happened is we've extended the olive branch and they've extended it back, and now we're teaming up. Now we're thinking things out. But what is happening is that this 10-4 movement, whether they are participating in this or not, has already changed the the mental state of these drivers that are active in this. They're already more friendlier. They're helping each other out on the road. A guy breaks down, they're getting on a CB asking if he needs help, and all that stuff has left the industry so long ago, and we're bringing it back. So how do I measure success? I measure it by the outcome 3 months from now. Do these people still keep that same mentality 3 months from now?
Do they stick together?
Right. Or do they divide and go elsewhere? I mean, history would say that they divide and go elsewhere, but hopefully with the organizers' help and volunteers that are here on the ground, and we actually have a special supper that's taking place tomorrow night at 7 p.m. up at the Alibi that the USTA rented the top floor from it, and we've invited leadership from all these different groups to this supper. And the whole point of that is it's like a Trucker Summit 2018. You know, it's like a Truckers UN, whatever you want to call it. The idea is to get all those people to come together so that we can have open, honest dialogue with each other and figure out how do we take action the correct way? How can we actually enact change in the industry and not step on each other's toes, right? Or bash each other or go after each other because one of their members says something, right? So now what we're trying to do is basically say, look, you might not agree with me on something, but the things that we do agree on, it's time to unite. And that's what we're basically trying to get out of it.